All right, this article is called Fighting for Their Future. And right in this paragraph, it says, should our government be doing more to protect us from the effects of climate change? A group of young people in Montana think so. Here's how they took their state to court over that question, and won, by Brooke Ross. All right, so we're going to scoot down. The vocabulary says lawsuit, a complaint made against someone or something to a court. Fossil fuels, fuels such as coal, oil, or natural gas that are formed in the earth from dead plants or animals. Atmosphere, the mixture of gases surrounding Earth or another planet. Plaintiff, a person who files a lawsuit against another person or group who accuses another person of a crime in court. And testimony, something that someone says in court while promising to tell the truth. All right, we're going to begin our story over here. We have our main character over here, Ricky Held. It says, Ricky Held grew up on a cattle ranch in Broadus, Montana. In 2007, the river that runs through the ranch dried up. Suddenly, the ranch's water source was gone. The Held family lost both cattle and crops as a result. The river did start flowing again, but Held's family has been through droughts, floods, and heat waves since. Each crisis makes it harder for them to keep the ranch open. It's stressful, Held, now 22, said. That's my life and my home. Broadus isn't the only part of Montana. Broadus isn't the only part of Montana facing such disasters. In recent years, areas throughout the state have had more floods and wildfires. Temperatures have been rising. Scientists say this is all due to climate change, or long-term changes in Earth's weather. Held and others argue that officials in Montana have made the situation worse. That's why she and 15 other young people filed a lawsuit against the state. They sued to protect their right to a healthy environment, and won. It says, pause and think. Why did Ricky Held file a lawsuit against her state? Our picture at the top says, standing strong. Young people involved in the case gathered in Helena, Montana in June. Our next part says, a warming planet. Earth's climate is always changing, but right now, most experts agree that humans are making the planet warm up faster than ever before. This past summer was hotter than usual for 98% of the world's population. Why is Earth's temperature rising so fast? Every day, people burn fossil fuels. Gas powers our cars. Oils help heat our homes. Coal fuels power plants that make electricity. Burning fuel sends harmful gases into the air. These gases build up in our atmosphere. They trap heat from the sun close to Earth. Scientists call this the greenhouse effect. Montana burns a lot of fossil fuels. For years, it built energy projects like coal mines and power plants without carefully thinking about how they might harm the climate. This angered Held. She felt like Montana needed to be doing more to protect the environment and her future. Pause and think. What is the greenhouse effect? Going to court. A group called Our Children's Trust gave Held a way to take on this issue. The group was building a case against Montana. It wanted young people to be involved. Held joined the case as a plaintiff. 15 other kids and teens from across the state also joined in. Let's scroll down. The picture at the bottom says, speaking up. Young plaintiffs like Olivia Vesovich testified in court. They talked about how climate change is affecting them. All right, going to the top. The picture at the top says, an airplane dumps water on a wildfire. An airplane dumps water on a wildfire in Montana in 2022. All right, so this side of the page says, in 2020, the group filed their lawsuit. It was filed in Held's name because she is the oldest. Held versus State of Montana, focused on language in Montana's constitution. It says that people who live in Montana have the right to a clean and healthful environment. The trial began on June 12, 2023. Several plaintiffs gave testimonies. They talked about how climate change is affecting them. Badge Bus 15 spoke about the effects of wildfires. He often has to stay indoors to avoid damage to his lungs from the smoky air. Doctors and scientists also gave testimony. Doctors said the effects of climate change are extra harmful to young people. Scientists talked about the effects of climate change on Montana, now and in the future. But the state argued it can't be blamed for a warming planet. It's a global issue, a lawyer for Montana said. Pause and think. Who do doctors say is harmed by the climate change? We are heard. At the bottom. In August, the judge made her decision. She ruled that the Montana state government has a duty to protect its citizens from climate change. When this issue went to press in October, the state of Montana had already filed an appeal. That means the case will be heard again by a higher court. Still, the Held versus Montana win is giving young people in Montana hope. Kian Tanner was a plaintiff from the city of Big Fork. When the judge read her ruling, he cheered. This ruling, this case, it is truly historic, he said. We are heard. Pause and think. How did the plaintiffs feel about the judge's ruling? This ruling at the top says, this ruling, this case, it is truly historic. We are heard. Kian Taylor, plaintiff from Big Fork, Montana. So if I go down, I see 5 big questions about Held versus Montana. What to do? We're going to answer the questions below using full sentences. So our questions focus on the where, how, when, who, and what. Where? Number 1, where does Ricky Held live? Number 2, how has climate change affected Held and her family? 3, when did Held and other young people file a lawsuit against their state? 4, who gave testimony at the trial? And 5, what did the judge decide? All right, do your best. Please turn this in when you're done with your name at the top, and thank you so much.